All right, and we're live. Not to the Dave's Had Enough show, but just a one-on-one gaming discussion about Nintendo. I do a lot of Nintendo gaming discussions. I haven't done Sony or Microsoft yet, but we'll do one eventually. It's just Nintendo is the one to always talk about. This is a Nintendo game one-on-one gaming discussion of their current problems in the gaming industry, and pretty much I want to cover just like the whole NX thing, all the talk about that, because it's pretty much was confirmed at the E3 Nintendo live event of 2015. They confirmed that it's on its way pretty much with that performance. Would you say, Old Dirty?
Yeah, I would say probably be here next year.
Yeah,
Next year.
I think Nintendo pretty much put their own nail in their own coffin with that performance. What did you say?
Yeah,
I mean that was pretty bad.
I ain't really catching
And pretty much, we're just going to talk about a bunch of things with Nintendo tonight. We were talking today earlier, and I said, we'll probably do a podcast on this. Just me and you. I wanted to do the Dave's Had Enough show this weekend, but I don't think I'm going to get around to it. I'm just going to do this. So, that's what I planned this weekend. The Dave's Had Enough show will be next weekend. But this weekend, we're going to do Nintendo. And it's a little late, but better, I don't mind doing things late. I like doing videos late. That's usually when I do them. Won't be too long, guys, for the people who are watching, but we're just going to get into this, and that's that. So what do you think with the whole Nintendo and their current position in the gaming industry? What do you think they could do to get somewhat out of it, get things going better? Because right now it's not good at all.
Well, the first thing I think they can do is get on par with what Microsoft and Sony is doing. Gamers want notification, on screen. They want voice chat in games. They want chat parties, stuff like that. They want to up the par system. Power wise, it seems like now everything is, got to have power. So that's what Nintendo will have to bring to the table, like they did back in the day. They have to bring their console out with power like they did before. You know what I'm saying? The few years back from the NES up to the GameCube. That's what they got to do.
But you say, I don't necessarily think it was like they like you said with the GameCube. We talked earlier today. You said with the GameCube they had the most powerful console that generation out of the PS2 and the original Xbox, I believe it was, if I'm correct.
I'm not sure if it was. I know it was stronger than more powerful than the PS2.
Was it
more? The Xbox was also, but I think the original Xbox and the GameCube was right on par with each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
But where they gimped themselves was the disc space. We all know that, so they had a great, they had a powerful console, but then they gimped themselves with disc space. So Nintendo's always doing something to fuck up, though,
Yeah.
And a lot of their consoles don't really have features. It's never been like that. Sony, they've always had Blu-ray, and as time goes on, everything keeps getting more and more streaming and voice chat. Same thing with Microsoft. They started off, with the whole online thing. Dreamcast was first with online, right? Sega.
Yeah, that I can remember. Yeah, Dreamcast.
That I can remember too. But I'm saying basically we're talking about Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo. I always talk about them three. And basically, out of them three, I would say it was Microsoft. They were the first ones with online. Then it was Sony, and then it went from there. But basically, Nintendo has never had any features with their consoles like these other ones have had, and I think that's something that needs to change for them. And hopefully with this new console that they're making, that might be something that they're looking into, or I would hope they're looking into. I mean, it's getting pretty bad. And not saying necessarily a console needs extra features to be the better console? Because obviously that's not the case with the Xbox One and the PS4, because you got people running out and getting the PS4. And I would say, I mean, in my opinion, I would say the Xbox One has a lot more features, like TV wise and all that stuff. Wouldn't you say, Old Dirty, than the PS4?
Yeah, yeah, they got a few more features.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you were wanting a console just based on features, like, would you go with the Xbox One or the PS4?
Probably go with the Xbox One if you want more features.
Okay, and that's what I would say too if I was looking for a console with features. But necessarily, in the PS4 and Xbox One's case, the PS4 is the better. I'm not saying it's the better console, but that's the one that's selling more. And you would think, people love features. You would think they'd be gravitating towards the Xbox One, but that's not the case. So that shows you it's not always based on features. People always say like features, like with Nintendo, they're always complaining about features. Nintendo needs features, but necessarily features aren't always the thing that's going to make you win in the home console market. Would you say, would you agree with that, or?
Yeah, I can agree to an extent, but I think what the fans are talking about, I think they want more as feature wise. I think they looking more as like voice chat and stuff like that. Bring up notification on TV. I shouldn't have to look down on a controller to see a blinking light when it can just pop up on the TV and say, hey, you got a message, and then you can go and check your message. You know what I'm saying? I shouldn't have to look down at my gamepad because every game that I play, I'm not looking down at the gamepad. Unless you're playing Kirby's The Rainbow Curse, you have to look down at the gamepad and not look at the TV. Then you'll see all your notifications, just a blinking light. But from that blinking light, you don't know if it's a friend. You don't know if it's somebody sending you a friend's request, a message, or something off from Miiverse. You don't know until you go and look.
What do you think the deal with the Wii U is? Like, why aren't these features like integrated with this console? Like, why didn't they do it? Like, is the Wii U just not possible to do these types of features, or do they need to go make another console? Or what do you think? Do you think they don't want to figure out the architecture of the Wii U? What's the deal? Like, why can't they get those simple features on a console that I've seen on, like a 360?
Well, I think with Nintendo, they really don't know how to do it. Because when I think of Nintendo, I think of Nintendo just being basic, just a home console. Nothing more. No Twitch and live streaming and none of that. Just a basic video game console, like back in the 80s. It just did one thing: play video games. And Nintendo is not. I guess with the infrastructure, they didn't know how to integrate that. That's why they needed help when it came with the Wii U. And EA was the one that was going to help them. But the deal with them, between them two, fell out. So it was just up to Nintendo. So now, with Nintendo doing the whole mobile gaming and the NX, you see they struck a deal with I forgot the name of that company that they struck a deal with.
Dina?
Yeah. They actually know how to do online stuff. So basically, Nintendo is gonna learn from them, so they can get all this type of features and stuff, implemented in the console. The Wii U can do it, but I don't think Nintendo know how to place it. They don't have their online built like the PlayStation and Microsoft. It's there, but it's like bare bone because they don't know how to build. They don't know how to extend on that online. They don't know how to add stuff, because to me, I think this is really their first time venturing into online. So they don't know how to put
those. So you're telling me, you got a company that's been around for decades. You got Nintendo. That you got a company like Microsoft and Sony, that hasn't been around that long in the gaming industry as Nintendo's been, and they can figure out how to do all kinds of stuff, and Nintendo's just kind of they're like the last ones to always figure out certain things like that. You would think they would be the ones figuring out first. Like I can understand Microsoft is like a software company and all that stuff, and Sony is a hardware company, but Nintendo, they're mainly just for gaming. Like what I'm saying, like Sony and Microsoft, they do a bunch of different things. So mainly Microsoft with computers, but I'm saying Sony does, TVs, phones, all kinds of shit. But you have Nintendo that's solely focused on video games, and they should be following where the industry's going with stuff. They should be the one leading everybody, you would think, how long they've been around. But they're now the ones that, are kind of like didn't remember how to, they didn't know what HD gaming was about. It's all new to them. Same thing with online. It seems like Nintendo's just stuck in like a certain like era. Like they just haven't left the, what I'm saying? Like they're still back in the not even Super Nintendo days. It's like, do you get what I'm saying? Do you follow me on this? Like they're stuck in like a time zone. They just can't get out.
Yeah, I do believe Nintendo is stuck.
Stuck, and I don't know what they're going to do to move forward. Would it be firing people at Nintendo? Would it be getting third party to help them? Like, is that going to be the answer? What's going to be the answer to get Nintendo back into the game with the rest of them? Like, because obviously it isn't working for them. It's the Wii U is a fail big time. The Wii was a success in its own way, but it was also a fail. It did. A lot of people ended up putting that up on their shelves in the closet after a while. It did not. It wasn't like the 360 and the PS3. In my opinion, I think the only thing that saved the Wii, it was a thing for casuals, and they went out and got it, and that's why it sold. But really, after that, it wasn't really something that everybody's running to after, they always go and use. They just put it up on their shelf. You know what I'm saying? I think Nintendo has had, ever since I would say the Super Nintendo, it's been kind of up and down for Nintendo. Like some people love the N64, and then you got some people that hated it. I was one of the ones that loved it. It was my favorite console of all time. But then, in my opinion, that's where things started going wrong for Nintendo. Would you agree, or?
Yeah, I think more or less with the cartridge, they stuck with cartridge instead of going with a CD based. I think that's what really hurt the NES. I mean the N64, but the N64 still got some great games, even though they stuck with cartridge. I think if they would have went with CD, they would have had a bunch of shit. I'm talking about. I think they would have had an awesome ass library if they would have went with CD instead of cartridge.
Yeah, I think they would have done pretty good with that too. And then they got this talk, that's pretty much they're possibly going back to cartridges. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I hear people talking about, going to, well, not like cartridge, but like the little card, like the PS Vita or the 3DS. You know how it look like a little SD card or whatever. It's
pretty close. It's pretty close to going back to that. You're leaving the disc and going to a card like an SD card, but it's still like kind of the same. I could, in my opinion, I couldn't see Nintendo's next home console coming out with little 3DS type games. Like what I'm saying, I don't see it being that small. I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but I think it's going to be the size of, if there are going to change from disc to cartridges, I think it's going to be about at least that big.
But I don't think Nintendo's going to go that way to cartridge, because even if you look at like the SD cards, you know what I'm saying, when you buy those type of micro SD cards, they go up to what, like 100 and some gigs. You know what I'm saying? Compared to a Blu-ray that only goes up to 50. But I still don't believe Nintendo's actually going to go that route. I think they're going to stick with with CD,
They're
with
always
Blue.
they're always trying a gimmick though. It's always a gimmick. Like to them, they would think people are like, oh, cool, they're back into, they're thinking in their heads, like if they do go that route, that I'm assuming they're thinking, oh, well, people think this is cool. You can play your games on this. People are getting tired of playing on this. This is cool. It don't get scratched, blah, 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 blah. You never know what they're thinking, like the whole like Wii mode, and all that stuff. I mean, they obviously thought people loved that thing because they obviously brought it back for the fucking Wii U. And that was one thing I hated with Nintendo was the Wiimote nunchuck. I wish it would go away. The next time they make the next Nintendo home console, whether it's the NX or whatever it's called, get rid of 3 things. One will be the name Wii. Leave it. Get rid of it. Change it to Nintendo NX, whatever. A next Nintendo, whatever. Another 2 things you need to get rid of is the Wiimote and the nunchuck. Get rid of them 2 things. I don't want them. And I think they'll be on the right track. I mean, are you a big fan of the Wiimote nunchuck or?
It was cool for what it was. I played a couple of good games that actually worked well with the remote and nunchuck. It was okay, but I'm still used to a regular controller, standard controller.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd rather have a standard controller, and that's what I'm thinking they need to do for their next Nintendo home console. Just come out with a standard controller. Just give the fans what they're asking for. Standard controller. Give them up to par graphics with the competition. Give them voice chat. I mean, this shit ain't really hard. This ain't rocket science. You know what I'm saying? They don't need to go do some other gimmick, and that's what Nintendo usually does. They're going to try some kind of gimmick like that. There's been talks of a hybrid console mixed with a handheld and a regular home console. No, leave that shit alone. Just make what people have been asking for. I mean, why do that? Obviously, it could work. It could be a success. It could do all kinds of stuff. But I mean, when you have fans asking for something, and then you go and do something totally different, totally different out of the whole thing, what they're asking for, majority of the time you're flipping a coin. It could work, people could love it, or people could hate it. And Nintendo is not in the position to be flipping the coin. Would you agree?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Just do what people are asking for, I'd say one thing about Microsoft, I will give them this. They are doing things that people are asking for. People did not want the Kinect. They listened. They got rid of the Kinect. It's optional now. They didn't want DRM. They got rid of DRM. I mean, you have to give it to Microsoft. They are trying,
Yeah.
Would you say Nintendo listens to their fan base?
I think Nintendo listened, but I think at the end, Nintendo look at it as, nah, I don't think that's right for you guys. We're gonna go this way. We hear you, but we still want to move in this direction. We think you're gonna like it when we move in this direction. Even though you want us to go over here, we think if we go over here like we want to, you're gonna enjoy it, and that's not the case.
Mm-hmm. I think Nintendo's always looking for the next gimmick. I think that's what they always got their mindset in. At least the people that are running Nintendo right now, they're always set up for. You got some people like other companies like Sony and Microsoft. Yeah, they look for gimmicks and stuff, but they're usually trying to keep up with each other. And right now, it's. I don't know. I can't sit here and say it's a good thing to follow each other, but Sony and Microsoft, they're doing okay. And they're following each other. They're keeping, shit. If you look at would you agree an Xbox One and the PS4 is kind of the same console?
Yeah, I always think the Xbox One and PS4 is the same console, just as the 360 and PS3 is basically like the same console.
And Nintendo with the Wii U is like the odd man out right now, right?
Yeah, like Nintendo is like, doing their own thing. You know what I'm saying? Like Sony and Microsoft are like the jocks, in high school, and Nintendo is more as that not weird kid, but the quiet one you always see that go to class, what I'm saying, that really doesn't, get out of line too much at school, really don't get into trouble.
Yeah.
He go to school and do what he do, and and go home. Whereas Microsoft and Sony, they the jock of the school, you know what I'm saying? People know them, what I'm saying, by face, and people want to be around them because they so popular. That's how I look at Microsoft and Sony.
And with that, I'm not leaving what I'm trying to get to, but with that comparison, you would think that's how Nintendo should be, the popular one in school, since they started off, they were here before Sony and Microsoft in the gaming industry. But that isn't the case, It's like Sony and Microsoft are going around pushing the nerd into the locker. The nerd is fucking Nintendo. They're just pushing them into the locker, getting them out of the way. And it's sad. It's really sad. But no, Nintendo, the whole thing with what's going on with them and I kind of lost train of thought what I was trying to go with before, because you got into the whole nerd, the whole high school thing. I was actually thought that was pretty interesting comparison, but I'll get back somehow where I was. But pretty much, let's just get to the main topic right now. Their current position in the home console market is not good. I would say after that Nintendo E3 2015 live event, that was fucking horrible. Like, you got people literally outraged at Nintendo. You got the fucking president of Nintendo, which I heard, from a bunch of people, literally apologizing on Twitter for that whole live event, the latest one. Was that correct? Or
yeah, I heard something like that. He must have been, well, it wasn't towards North America. It was more towards Japan. That's what people were saying. I guess when it was translated or something like that, it was more towards Japan. He was apologizing for the event. So I guess it wasn't up to their liking, but I guess Nintendo thought it was up to our liking. I don't know.
So you got them. So see, that obviously shows they could give two shits about America, because we got this dumbass for the president of America Nintendo, Reggie Fils-Aimé, that's literally lying to everybody in a GameSpot interview. He's just sitting there lying out of his ass, telling people that, I believe he said in the interview that what did he say with the whole thing with what's that latest Metroid game?
Oh, Liberation, something like that.
Yeah, he was pretty much saying that they got what kind of response from the fans? Do you remember?
I think he said he had a good response or something like that.
Yeah, something like I can't remember the word he used, but he pretty much said he got great feedback or something on that game. No, on the little side game with it, that what's it called, Blast Ball or something?
Yeah.
He said they got great feedback or something like that. I mean, he lied through his teeth this whole interview. I saw it on Real Gamer 27. Shout out to Real Gamer 27's channel. He had the whole video linked in his description of his one rant video he did on about that. But Reggie, for I think it was a 17-minute video, just lied through his teeth, said he had great third-party relationships, and then has the nerve to bring up Activision with fucking Skylanders. That's not great third-party relationships. Great third-party relationships would be Bethesda with Fallout 4, or, I hate to say this, EA with fucking Star Wars Battlefront. I would like to hear that come out of his mouth. I know Nintendo fans hate EA, but I mean, that Star Wars Battlefront looks fucking cool. I'd rather play Star Wars Battlefront from a company you guys hate, that if you're watching this video and you despise EA, I'm sorry, they're making Star Wars Battlefront. That game looks fucking cool. Rather see that than fucking Skylanders. I don't want to play Skylanders on my console with special fucking Bowser Skylander amiibos. I think it's like a Bowser they showed off. Was it Bowser?
Yeah, Bowser and Donkey Kong.
Yeah, I don't care about special figures that give me DLC and I can do super moves. That's all that is all you people bitch about fucking Batman Arkham Knight and their $40 season pass, and Evolve with their double season pass. They're making another season pass, I heard. I don't know if that's a rumor or not, but people are bitching about it. and then you're buying these fucking amiibos that are basically another form of DLC, like a little card that gives you DLC, but it's a little figure, a little Happy Meal toy. And you did hear the latest news on Nintendo actually making Happy Meal toys, right, for amiibos?
Yeah, I think I seen somewhere on the internet that Nintendo is going to make, I think, amiibo figures for McDonald's Happy Meal.
Okay, I mean, and it's just all this stuff that I'm seeing lately. You got Nintendo with amiibos with fucking McDonald's and Happy Meal toys. You got the Nintendo Live event with Muppet Babies. Okay, fucking Muppet Babies starting off the show. Jim Henson's Muppet Babies. Come on. All right. All this indicates to me that Nintendo is for children, or they're definitely trying to get the children's audience. You know, they're not catering towards their longtime Nintendo fan that maybe, you know, grew up with Nintendo and would like to be, you know, would like to be an adult with Nintendo and have an adult relationship with Nintendo and not be like the relationship of, you know, just them catering to children. Like, they don't want to cater to their fan base that they started with at all, that stuck with them for years. Or do they expect you to be a child forever and live in Neverland? What do you think, Old Dirty?
In the case with the Wii U, you know, we all know it's not selling well, and the only thing that's really selling well from the Wii U, you know, is a few games, exclusive games that come out, and Amiibos is a hit. I don't think Nintendo probably knew that it was going to be a hit. I think it was just, you know, they thought it just going to be, you know, something, you know, people would just, you know, get and collect and call it a day. But this is actually a big money maker for Nintendo. So they're looking at it, to me, they're looking at it as, you know what, we're making bank off this. You know what I'm saying? We got the 3DS that's rolling out constantly, you know what I'm saying? We got 50 million plus with that. The Amiibo is like going crazy, and Nintendo is they want that money. You know, the Wii U is not selling like they wanted to, but the Amiibos is. So they actually going after Amiibos now. It's like, you know what? They just steady throwing Amiibos out there. And, you know,
oh, they're chasing the pot of gold. They're like, well, you know, the Wii U's fucking flopping like hell, selling like dog shit, and then they make this, you know, these fucking Amiibos, and they're like, well, we're gonna lose money with the Wii U. You know, you do have people sitting here saying, oh, Nintendo's making a profit, but they're not making the profit they want to make. They're not making what they wanted to make with this Wii U. You know, they want to make a lot more money than what they're doing. Yes, they're making a profit, but they're not. You have to understand they want to do a lot more than what they're doing with it. So then they make these things Amiibos, and they see they're taking off, and they're just going to fucking make Amiibo after Amiibo after Amiibo until people just can't take Amiibos no more, and they're going to bank off that shit. But it just, right there, it just shows me that they're, you know, catering towards children, you know. And even Reggie Fils-Aimé said that, you know, that interview with GameSpot, he pretty much said that, you know, he's trying to meet the demands of Amiibos. You know, yeah, they had problems with them at first. Like, you didn't even hear him saying nothing really caring about the Wii U. Like, he's talking about Amiibos. And that's what I thought he was going to go into when he was talking. Then he starts talking about Amiibos. I was like, you know, you're not making enough content for the Wii U, but you're making sure you have a damn good amount of Amiibos, you know.
And I think probably why he went, I didn't see the whole interview. I've seen like bits and pieces of it. But I think why he did that, he didn't really talk about the Wii U because, you know, the Wii U is not selling. You know, the Amiibos are. So I guess he figured the attention got to be on the Amiibos because, you know, this is what people want. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to put it out there. You know, you got people that's actually waiting in line, you know what I'm saying, for 2-3 days for, you know, a certain Amiibo. And with the NX like right around the corner, I guess there's really no need to talk about the Wii U because we have we got the NX right around the corner, and the Amiibos are selling like hotcakes. So we're gonna focus on those two, but we really ain't gonna hear nothing about the NX until, you know, next year sometime.
Like you said, though, earlier today, I believe it was you I was talking to about this. I talked to a few people today about gaming, you know, like usual. I talk about gaming all the time. You said that in your opinion, or your theory, that they're going to pretty much throughout this year, you're going to hear from different developers, kind of slipping about what they're working on with the Nintendo NX, like meaning developers that are secretly making games for it. You might see them slip here and there. You were the one saying that, right?
Yeah, there has been on the that I heard that like two developers actually slipped up and said that they're actually working on a title for the NX console. They actually said it was a console, and that they was working on a title for it. So I'm thinking, when I seen the E3, when Reggie was sitting there with one of the guys from Activision talking about Amiibos and Skylanders, I'm like, okay, that's cool if you want to partner up and make Amiibos for Skylanders, but what about asking Activision for Black Ops 3? It's fans on the Wii U that wants Black Ops 3. They got Ghost and they got Black Ops 2. I'm pretty sure they want Black Ops 3. So my whole thing was, why is he not talking about that? Why are you not making a partnership like, hey, you know what, can you port it over, or you know what, give us the code and one of our second party in-house team would do it. We'll get it up running on the Wii U so we can put it out if you don't want to do it. Because that happened with going back to the GameCube, Konami did that with Nintendo. When Konami put Metal Gear on the GameCube, Konami didn't do it. Konami gave it to Nintendo to do it, and Nintendo gave it to their second party team, which was it's right on the tip of my tongue, the name of the studio. I want to say, damn. They named it come to me, but they actually ported the game to the GameCube. Nintendo's second party team. It wasn't Konami, and they did a damn good job porting that game from the PlayStation 2 to the GameCube. And it even had just one or two features that the PlayStation 2 didn't have.
Well, you know what I'm thinking. The reason why you got companies like Activision and you got companies like Ubisoft that will agree to work with Nintendo on these, let's all be safe here and say, not trying to offend any weirdos out there, but these are these are children's video games, titles, Skylanders, Just Dance. They're okay to work with Nintendo on those types of games, but they don't want to work with them no more on games like Assassin's Creed with Ubisoft, or Activision with Call of Duty Black Ops 3. But they're okay with giving them children's games, or games for everyone. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to work. They don't want to work with them with games for the hardcore gamer or the casuals. They don't want to do that. They want to just do these children's games.
Right. Well, it probably doesn't cost them money to. It probably doesn't even cost them money to port those games. Like Just Dance, and Skylanders over to the Wii U. I'm pretty sure it costs a little of nothing to port those games over. When you talk about their big budget titles, like Call of Duty and stuff like that, yeah, it's going to be way more money. And developers got to think okay, is it going to sell to get our money back and plus? You know what I'm saying? I think that's what developers are looking at. And then too, I thought about when Reggie was talking about they are good with third party, and I'm like, why is he saying they're good with third party and there's no third party games on the Wii U? And it just stuck with me, what the hell did he mean by that? Did he mean, now I'm thinking, did he mean that, oh, we're good with third party because third party is coming to the NX? Is that what he meant by that?
Well, what we can tell from but to answer your question, what we can tell from what we can see with our own eyes and not take, not speculation, right now, if I'm assuming what Reggie's saying he's good with, it looks like children's fucking titles, you know, like Skylanders and Just Dance and shit like that. Because those are games supposedly from these companies that sell the best on Nintendo's platforms. Like, you know, a lot of people say, or they said, that Just Dance was the best selling, you know, game for, what was it, the Wii?
Yeah, that's what they said.
I believe it was, and I think Skylanders did pretty well on the Wii U. I mean, on the Wii. On the regular Wii, Skylanders, it looks like, to me, I'm going by VG charts, they haven't really updated anything, but the Wii, from their last thing they did with it, I know they haven't updated in a little while now, I'm just saying that, so everybody knows that, but I'm seeing that Skylanders Spyro's Adventure for the Wii, it sold 2.77 million units. So, I mean, that's the top selling game. So I'm assuming those franchises do very well, and they're, you know, kids franchises. Like with Watch Dogs, they said that was going to be the last, you know, game mature title for the Wii U. I'm hoping with the NX, you know, we don't have to see a continuation of this shit with these children's games just on Nintendo. But, I mean, are people just missing the message that is Nintendo just for kids, and we're just, you know, like I said many a times in other videos, are we just like, you know, the audience that grew up with Nintendo, but, you know, Nintendo expected us to move on, and they got, you know, they're catering towards a new audience of kids, and, you know, does Nintendo expect us to be kids forever, or should we do what? Go on? What? Should we stay with Nintendo? You know what I'm saying? Do they never want us to grow up and just like these games? Do you follow me on that?
Yeah, I follow you on that. I think that's where, you know, the in-house of Nintendo is going to have to learn. They're going to have to look at Microsoft and Sony as, okay, you know, as a company as Nintendo, we can grow with our fan base that's getting older. So with fans that's getting older, yeah, let's get those mature titles out, you know, those T for teens. And for, you know, the newer generation, you know, we could still have those, you know, easy or simple games, or, you know, kiddie games, or however you want to look at it. We could still have that on the console as well. And I think that's what Nintendo is going to have to learn. They're going to have to look at that when they come out with their next console is, okay, let's play both sides of the fence. Let's play with, you know, the casuals, and let's also play with the hardcore gamers. Let's get them those you know, Battlefield games that they're looking for. You know, those blood and guts. You know what I'm saying? The Devil May Cry and all that. But also, let's do the Skylanders and Amiibos type thing. You know what I'm saying? Because when you look at it, I mean, Microsoft and Sony, they do the same thing. They got kiddie games. You know what I'm saying? But they don't really advertise the kiddie game. But if you look on the shelf, I'm pretty sure you'll see a SpongeBob or something for the PS4. You know what I'm saying? The PS3. You'll see something like.
But you don't see Nintendo. You don't see Sony like Yoshida, or you don't see like Phil Spencer like parading in an interview that he's got great third-party relationships with Activision, with Skylanders. You know, they're talking about Call of Duty DLC first. You know, they're going on about shit like that. They're going on about Shimu. You know, they're trying to do stuff like that, or Final Fantasy VII. You know, with Square Enix, stuff like that. They're not parading about Skylanders. So I don't know, like, one thing you got to think of, you know, you got Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo. Okay, which one would you think, honestly, is the one for children out of the three?
I mean, you have to go with Nintendo, because Nintendo is a family type console, and they always itself as that.
Now, what I'm getting at here now, what if, like, Nintendo actually did go through the transformation of becoming Sony and Microsoft with what they're doing, and actually cater towards the hardcore gamer and all that? Where would the children go for the home console market? They really wouldn't have much. They would have, you know, maybe knack. They would have to do a couple titles here and there on each console. If Nintendo really fully transformed into like doing something totally different. So what I'm trying to get at with this is Nintendo basically is the kids, you know, market for home consoles, and maybe that's why they keep doing this shit. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, a lot of people want Nintendo to be something they're not. That's what I'm even guilty of that. You know, I would love to see Nintendo, be like Sony or Microsoft and have voice chat and have streaming and have all these features. But, do kids stream? Do little kids stream? Do little kids like to voice chat? We have seen them on Call of Duty and stuff. I'm saying, like, maybe a lot of this shit Nintendo thinks kids don't need to do or whatever. There is guidelines to Nintendo somewhat. If you go on Miniverse, you can't curse. You know what I'm saying? It's very children orientated. Family orientated is a nice thing to say, but it's really done with children. It's a children's console written all over it. But a lot of people that grew up with Nintendo, like me and you, want to see Nintendo actually grow up with us and not stay at in Neverland and never grow up. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know if Nintendo got the message. I don't know if Nintendo is actually going to come out with their next console and come out with all this third party out the gate and actually start going after the hardcore gamer instead of the just the Nintendo gamer that only likes Mario and Donkey Kong. Like, what are they going to do? Like, what do you think Nintendo? Basically, what I wanted to do this whole gaming discussion about tonight was about their current position in the home console market and in the gaming industry, and I want to talk about too what Nintendo could do for the next time around, to get maybe back on top. Could they change things? Could they get out of this position in the home console market and in the gaming industry being the laughing stock of, the gaming industry? Looked at the kiddie console. What do you think they could do? Is it basically just do what everybody's asking, add these voice chat features, get the graphics up to par with the rest of the competition? What do you think, Old Dirty?
Well, basically, Nintendo going to have to listen to the Nintendo fans of what Nintendo fans want for that console. Mm-hmm. Second, Nintendo is going to have to cater to third party. And when I say cater to third party, I don't mean like come out of their pockets, with a wad of cash. I think what with third party is, give us a console we can work on that's up to par with what we got now. Let us, design a game for PlayStation 4, and then we just port it over to the Xbox One, and now we can port it over to Nintendo new console with ease. That's what we want. We don't want to have to, go in and work extra, just to get it to run on the Wii U because it's not as powerful as the other two. So give third party that's what third party wants. They just want to port shit over, because they always done that. So you would get the third party games, you would get the mature games. Nintendo fans would get, what they want. They know they're going to get the first party games, which they love, but they also going to, get the voice chat, the invites, the friends, a better online. You know what I'm saying? And that's what Nintendo wanted to step back and look at. It's like, okay, we got to cater to our fans. This is what they've been asking for the Wii U. We couldn't bring it, so we're going to bring it with the new console. Third party, we're going to have to bring it, put it up to par with Xbox One, PlayStation 4. So the Nintendo fans can get those third party games, but we can also grab other people. You know what I'm saying? Grab other gamers. Other gamers. Other gamers that won't be scared to buy our console because, they think third party is going to leave. Or the system is not up to par, so I don't think it's worth, $300. I think if they put it on par, I think most people will actually buy the new console as, a secondary console.
Mm-hmm.
I really do think people will buy the next Nintendo console if they doing what they supposed to do and giving the fans what they want. I think people will actually go out and buy it as a secondary console just for the exclusive titles and the first party titles on Nintendo console.
Well, let me stop you right there because that brings up something that we talked about today. You said you said the exclusive consoles from Nintendo. Are you talking about the same exclusives that they've been pumping out with the Wii U, like the Mario and the Mario Tennis and the Nintendo Land? Like, what type of exclusives do you think should be on the NX to fix things?
Well, when I say exclusive, yeah, I'm still talking about those same titles that we grew up with, you know what I'm saying? The Mario, the Donkey Kong, the Mario Kart, the Metroid, you know what I'm saying? But also, you know, get into some, you know, new IPs.
Mm-hmm.
Or let Retro, you know, work on a few new IPs that they got. We hear they supposed to be making it rumored that they supposed to be making a new IP for Nintendo. And
In retro?
yeah, and some people say it's like an action adventure game. So not sure, but these are the rumors that's going around that I heard. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't know if it's true or not. But if Retro is making a new IP, you know, get your team to make, you know, new IPs for your new console. Yeah, we all know the Zelda's going to come, the Mario's going to come, the Metroid's going to come. You know what I'm saying? Maybe another Star Fox, maybe another F-Zero. We know those, you know, will eventually come. But I think they also want exclusive titles from third party that partner up with Nintendo that's not going to come to the other two consoles.
Mm-hmm.
Or Nintendo snatched something, you know what I'm saying, from like Capcom or something. You know, a game from Capcom and made it exclusive to the new Nintendo console. You know, Nintendo do things like that to show people like, oh, okay, you know, Nintendo is going back to their old ways. You know, and people will stop and look at Nintendo and be like, okay, they listening. You know what I'm saying? Third party is there. Third party is not bullshitting when a new, you know, game come out every Tuesday. It's also on a new Nintendo console. So yeah, Nintendo is doing something right. So that's what Nintendo going to have to do. They're going to have to step back and look at what they did with the Wii U. Not saying the Wii U is a bad console at all. It's actually a fun console. It's a good machine. But like a lot of people look at it as it's not powerful. And that's what this generation, you know, wants. They want power. And when you look at the PlayStation, right, when you look at the PlayStation 4, you know, the first thing you think of is how much it's sold, and it's the most powerful console. So that's what people want. So if Nintendo can get on par with the other two and get all this stuff that they're doing, not necessarily maybe the streaming right away, you know, doing, you know, Twitch and Ustream and all that, but if they can just get the notifications and other stuff correct, then Nintendo will be moving in the right direction.
Okay. I think, in my opinion, what Nintendo needs to do, I would say basically, you know, they're in a tough position, and nobody can deny that. You know, you got the Nintendo NX or whatever they're going to call it, possibly coming out. You know, some people are speculating next year. Some people are speculating 2017 and beyond. You actually have some idiots here on this site, on YouTube, that really believe the Wii U is going to continue. You know, it's going to keep going. You know, like it's going to actually outplay its whole life cycle. It's going to be out for 6 years. And, I mean, they're still here after the Nintendo Live event. You still have idiots, weirdos that believe that the Wii U there's nothing wrong with it. It's still alive and well. They're obviously living in a false reality. But basically what Nintendo needs to do, I would say, stop the bullshit. Stop the gimmicks. Throw the gimmicks in the garbage. Come out with a controller. You know, even release a console, their next console with the Pro Controller. Something similar to that. That was a great controller. One thing that came with the Wii U, it didn't come with the Wii U, but, you know what I'm saying, came with the whole Wii U thing, like the whole, you know, all the stuff that they made with the console for you to buy at the store didn't come necessarily with the console, but you could buy it separately. That was the Wiimote. I mean, the Pro Controller, not the Wiimote. the Pro controller. That was a great controller. I love it. You know, one of my favorite controllers of this generation. Then another thing they could do, okay, you got your controller going there, come out with some features that people are using this generation that really seem to be doing well, like streaming. You know, I don't know if Nintendo's going to go out and, you know, make their own camera where you can stream and stuff, because obviously from what we've seen with Nintendo, they don't really want people, you know, playing their games on YouTube and stuff, like with the whole thing with they had that whole program that you had to be a part of, and it can only be certain games. I forgot the name of the program that they did, but I mean, maybe things will change next generation. Maybe they got the message where people actually want to, you know, show gameplay of their games on their YouTube channels and not be fucking, you know, get their videos fucking flagged or whatever. But I would just say keep it basic, and then that's with their consoles, and make sure it's up to par. Like, make sure it's on, you know, the same level as the PS4 or Xbox One, or either close, or maybe, like you said earlier today, a little bit stronger. It's not rocket science what they got to do with this next console. But the problem here now, which is their biggest problem, is the games. Do they go after the same franchises that they've been going after for decades? Do they just keep pumping out Mario, Donkey Kong, Zelda? Or do they need to go after the one franchises that they haven't used in a while, like F-Zero, you know, a Star Fox that people want, not this one that's fucking outdated from N64. You know, what about Wave Racer? What about that? You know, shit, what about Cruis'n USA? Why not just do like a fucking up-to-date version on that? I mean, there's so many possibilities of what they got that they can use. And then do shit like they used to on the N64, you know, and the Super Nintendo, where they had, like, you know, those console exclusives that were from third party that were pretty damn good, like Doom 64. You know, Nintendo had its own Doom. You had Vigilante 8. You had GoldenEye. Like, go after those games too. I mean, you can still have your kids shit on there too. I mean, we all know Nintendo's not going to stop doing shit with, like, you know, Pokemon and fucking Animal Crossing, but they pretty much just leaned towards that audience and kind of left the, you know, they strayed away from the hardcore gamer, you know. It's basically they went towards the kiddie Nintendo gamer, you know, or just the Nintendo gamer himself, you know. They just, like, they just assume you want Zelda after Zelda, and Donkey Kong, and you don't care about third party at all. And one thing, you know, Nintendo made a mistake on this generation was totally, you know, losing third party. I don't know whose fault it was. I blame Nintendo. A lot of other people you know, talk to, some people agree, but a lot of other people think it was third party's fault. I don't think every third party hates Nintendo. You know what I'm saying? Like, I find it very strange that Bethesda, Square Enix, Ubisoft, EA, they all have this vendetta against Nintendo, and it's not Nintendo's fault. But Nintendo needs to fix those relationships. You know, when you tell some Nintendo, like, Wii U weirdos, like, why can't they get more games out? They say, well, Nintendo's only one studio. It's, you know, it's only themselves. Well, if Nintendo will loan out their games, like they are doing with Platinum Games on, what's the game? Star Fox. Or isn't Platinum Games making that?
Yeah, he is working with Nintendo.
Yeah, like let other developers that they can trust develop their games, like, so they can get more games out. It's like Nintendo did not fill the void, you know, or not void, like the dark hole in the Wii U for game releases. Like, okay, they lost third party, but how are they going to fill in that gap? With the NX, I hope it isn't going to be the same thing. Like, they're just going to go into another console with no third party and just say, fuck it, you know, and try to, you know, go without doing any third party support. Because we all learned from this latest Nintendo E3 2015 live event that they cannot survive without third party on the home console market. It's not working. That was one reason why their show was fucking horrible, because they didn't have any games, and that's mainly because they don't have third party or anybody, you know, they're all doing it themselves, you know, and they just can't get the games out fast enough. So you're going to need third parties' help. They need to, you know, rebuild that bridge that burnt down a long time ago or whatever, you know. That's my opinion. Get third-party exclusives like they had on the N64 and Super Nintendo. Even the GameCube, they had Geist, they had Resident Evil 4. I just find it so weird that Capcom doesn't want nothing to do with Nintendo, and Capcom's in a bad position. Like it's you find it really strange that you see a Resident Evil remake come out and it's on all the other consoles, you know, like PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC, and then you don't even see it on the console that, you know, was on the GameCube where it was made originally, right? You know, don't you find that strange?
Yeah, I found that strange that, you know, you went to remake Resident Evil in HD, but you didn't use the original PlayStation 1. You used the GameCube to actually do it. And then you don't put it on the Wii U. I thought that was kind of strange that you would take the Resident Evil from GameCube and remake that one and not the one from the PlayStation 1. I thought that was, you know, kind of weird.
And another thing, like what I want to talk to about in this podcast too. So, like we just discussed what we want to see for the, you know, what we think could fix their current position in the home console market next generation. But one thing we didn't discuss, you know, Nintendo's gonna make another console. You know, we don't know if it's gonna be coming out next year. A lot of people think it's gonna either be next year, and you have more people think it's going to be 2017. And like I said, there's actually idiots out there, weirdos, that believe that the Wii U is alive and well, and that the Nintendo NX, or whatever they're going to call the next home console, isn't coming till the Wii U finishes its full life cycle, which is fucking stupid to believe that. But that's why we call them weirdos. But you actually have people believe that. I watched a hour-long podcast the other day. It was a little bit over an hour. It's an hour and 20 minutes. I watched this group of weirdos that get together every week or whenever. I can't watch them all the time, and I don't even know how I put myself through this misery that day to watch this console. But I mean, podcast, but I did. And it was funny that his group of weirdos that he talks with, they all actually were disgusted by the live event at E3, the latest one. And then when it came his time to talk, this motherfucker was damage controlling about Muppet Babies. He was saying, you know, they did pour a lot of money into those Jim Henson Muppet Babies. I was like, this motherfucker's damage controlling Muppet Babies. Can you believe that, Old Dirty? Damage controlling Muppet Babies. I was like, man. And then he's actually going on about Star Fox and, you know, trying to, you know, even when people on his podcast, these are weirdos that, you know, always usually are. The thing I thought was great was these are weirdos that you always see defending Nintendo, and they kind of turned on their master in the podcast. Like they all agree with each other in this podcast, but it's like a alpha wolf, and his wolves aren't agreeing with him. Man, when it was his time to talk, he's like trying to like justify all the stuff they were talking about, and I was like, just hang it up. The Wii U is done. Accept it. I was like, you know, I mean, come on, you know. But what I wanted to get to too, where I was going with all this too, besides the idiots that still believe the Wii U is alive and well, what happens if Nintendo, you know, when they do come out with a console in 2017, 2018, what do you think's going to be the right move though? If they go with a console that's, you know, like we were talking earlier today, you said overpowered, like make a console more powerful than the PS4 and Xbox One, couldn't they be in the same position as they are now with the Wii U having an underpowered console where developers don't want to develop for it? Because if it's overpowered, they're like, well, we're not going to do that when we can just develop for the two consoles that are on the same level. You get what I'm saying, Old Dirty?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. And it's like, to me, it's going to be like a hit or miss because the two consoles that's out now, the Xbox One and the PS4, I mean, the graphics are nice, but, you know, it wasn't like people would expect it, you know, on YouTube. Like, when they was coming out, people was expecting this big, giant leap because they was just looking at specs on paper. Like, oh, you got the 886 graphics card, the GPU is is the 9500, and you know what I'm saying. It got 8 gigs of RAM. This shit gonna be looking awesome. We're gonna be up there with PC, and it wasn't. The graphics is not up to par with PC. I mean, yeah, we got some good graphics. It was a small to middle leap.
Oh, well, hold on. I'm not trying to stop you there. We got on the PS4 the definitive version of Batman Arkham Knight that actually is running way better than the PC version. So I don't know. I mean,
right?
Some people are saying.
Well, I'm talking about graphic wise. I'm pretty sure.
I'm just messing around with that. I'm just kidding around.
Where graphic wise, it wasn't that big of a jump that everybody thought it was going to be. So,
oh yeah, I agree.
So who's to say the next generation consoles, is it going to be a really big leap, or is it still going to be a small leap within graphics? So if Nintendo does go stronger by maybe 30% or whatever, then they could still be on par with the next Xbox and PlayStation, because they're just going to have another small to medium leap in graphics. So Nintendo will still be right there. Maybe the other two consoles will be 10% stronger than what the NX would be, but they'll still be up to par.
But do you like the Wii U? In all reality, it's been out since 2012, right?
Yeah.
So by then, you got either, if it's coming out in 2016, it'd be 4 years to the game, right? And then if it's 2017, it's 5 years late to the game. You got a console that's really in all reality, whether they're going to make it either come out 2016 or 2017, it's very late for them to come out with a console that's on par with PS4 and Xbox One. And if they make one overpowered, at least maybe, unless where Sony's trying to develop theirs, or Microsoft, if they make theirs, as powerful for the next time around to meet Nintendo where they're at or go further, it's like Nintendo's in a bad position, I would say. It's either they come out on par, and then, it's all depending on when Sony and Microsoft are going to say this generation's over, and then Nintendo, they just cut Nintendo short, because I don't see Sony and Microsoft sitting around. Say Nintendo does come out with a more powerful console, and developers actually cater to this console and start developing. Do you think Sony and Microsoft are going to sit by the sidelines and just watch the new Nintendo NX, let's call it the NX, just get all this, great graphics, great, they're getting all these games that are looking fabulous on their console, and then Sony and Microsoft's looking like shit? I don't think they're going to wait. Then they're going to come out with even more powerful consoles. So then what's Nintendo going to do? Come out with another console that's on par or more powerful? You know what I'm saying? I think what Nintendo, I hate to say this, but I really think what Nintendo should have done, and they're not going to, is really just tough it out with the Wii U. I really think that's what they should have done. They should have just, tried their best to develop, at their ability, whatever they can do. I think they should have reached out to third party, paid them whatever they had to, not give them a bunch of money, but be reasonable with them and say, hey, develop for our console, make exclusives, and we'll do this, blah, 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 blah. It's just they're in such a bad position to come out with a console this late for what, either to make it on par, because if they make it on par, it's when the console generation's over, I don't see Sony going a lot longer with this console, the PS4, making a longer life cycle because Nintendo's late to the game. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you know what? I look at it as I'm thinking about it now, we all know that the Wii U is underpowered, but who's to say if the NX come out and it's stronger than the PlayStation 4. Now, when the PlayStation 4 and next Xbox come out, and they're more powerful, let's say it is more powerful than the NX, but will it be a big difference? Will it be like looking at the Xbox 5, looking at it versus the NX as it was on par with the Wii U? I don't think that it'll be that big of a jump.
It's going to have to be Nintendo to show us that jump. It isn't going to be third party, because third party is not going to come out with, for example, say at that time, I don't know, say the new Call of Duty for that year comes out. I don't see developers, if they are going to mess with Nintendo again, I don't see them making a more powerful looking, more graphically demanding, game for the Nintendo NX over, the Xbox One and PS4. I would think we're going to see that from Nintendo. Like, they're going to have to show us with their exclusives what this fucking, console can do. It's going to be like with, Sony with the PS4 with Killzone Shadowfall. It's going to be like Microsoft with Rise, Son of Rome. I think that's where you're going to... It's always with exclusives where we really see what each console can do with graphics. Like with the PS3 when they showed, The Last of Us. That was, their last big game that really showed off the graphics. You actually had that game overheating fucking PS3s. It'll come from exclusives. I don't think third party... I just... It's just questionable if third party is going to want to develop for a more powerful thing. I don't think they will. I think they'll... just keep it. It'll be pretty much like we've seen with the Wii U, I think.
I put it as, when Nintendo next console comes out, and then whatever down the line, how many years the PlayStation 5 and, the next Xbox come out, it could, I'm pretty sure it'll be powerful than the NX, but it's not going to make those two new consoles is not going to make the NX look like the Wii U. That's just way underpowered. We already know that the Wii U is just way underpowered compared to the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. I don't think it'll be the same when NX come out and when the next PlayStation 5 and next Xbox come out. It's not going to make the NX like, damn, it's the Wii U all over again. No, I don't think it's going to be that. Nintendo just came in as, they came in showing us the gamepad of what you could do, a slightly better console from the PlayStation 3 and 360, and that's what Nintendo wanted to show. But obviously it didn't work. So now they're going to have to step up their game. Like, you know what? Now we got to start putting out a more powerful console like we did generations back. So now when the next consoles come out, I don't think it's going to make the NX look like the Wii U. Not at all. And I think that's probably what a lot of people are thinking. Like, oh shit, if Nintendo do this now, then when the next PlayStation 4 comes out, it's just going to be underpowered. It's not. It's not going to be underpowered like the Wii U is towards the PlayStation 4. It's not.
Well, I have a question. Have we ever seen this before where a company has had to literally, this late in the generation, make another console because of how bad shit is with it? You know what I'm saying? Like, what other company has done that? And actually, didn't leave the home console market and go third party like Sega did. I'm talking like, what company actually had problems in the generation and just said, fuck it, we're making another console?
Well, I don't know the reason behind Microsoft, but the original Xbox was only out for 4 years, and then the 360 came out.
Yeah.
Saying that the original Xbox was a failure, it wasn't. I don't know how many it sold, but it sold well because I knew people that had it. You know what I'm saying? But Microsoft did it in 4 years and came out with a 360. Why can't Nintendo do the same thing? Even though we know that, the Wii U is way underpowered. I mean, for them acknowledging it and they don't have third party 4 years, hey, go ahead and do it. If Microsoft can do it, why can't Nintendo do it? And we all know the Xbox was not underpowered.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, Yeah, but the reason why Microsoft got away with that is because the original PlayStation 2, came out in 2000. And the GameCube came out the same year as the original Xbox. Yeah, that is true. You do have a point there. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna. I think it's a little too late, in my opinion. I I don't know. It's like something we gotta wait and see what happens. I'm
Yeah.
just thinking if they come out with something more powerful, it could kick them in the foot. If they come out with something, or kick them in the ass, I don't know why I said foot. Or if they come out with something on par, it's all depending on when Sony and Microsoft want to jump. But I think one
There
thing you
you
got to
go.
give.
You just said it, Dave. You just said it. Nintendo come out on par with the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. How long is it going to be before the next Sony and Microsoft console comes out? That's the thing. Will it come out, let's say, maybe 2-3 years after the NX come out? Or is Microsoft and Sony looking to go another almost 9 years with the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One? We don't know yet. We didn't
No,
know
that's
that
what I'm
last
saying.
generation was going to be this long.
Yeah, but
We didn't.
this. I mean, the one thing you got to think though. I mean, people got to realize. A lot of people. You got some people realizing or thinking. And sorry if I'm talking a little bit wrong or anything. I'm tired a little bit, but I want to do this podcast 'cause I got things going on tomorrow, so I figured I'd give you guys a podcast. That's how I usually get at nighttime. I get a little loopy. But one thing you got to realize with the whole console generation, this generation, with the Nintendo, them making a new console early, like we said, we don't know when it's coming. But if it was to come out, in 2016 or 2017, would Sony and Microsoft go with the generation go a little bit longer just because, they just say fuck it and just go, 9 years or whatever? Or are they going to just do 6 years? Nobody knows. You got some people speculating that this is going to be a short generation. You got some people speculating that this is going to be a longer generation than the last generation. Nobody knows. But I'll say one thing. It's with Nintendo's whole thing. It really depends if they have third party on board. Because if Nintendo does go through all these problems just to make a console that's up to par or more powerful, so that third party will get on board with them, and then that's not the case. Third party isn't getting on board with them, and they're just making a more powerful console to make Nintendo games. Then they could have done this shit with the Wii U. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Nobody knows what they're doing. It's all speculation, but we do know we're not 100% sure. We're not, even 50%. Well, I'd say we're about 50% sure that the NX will be announced. At the and you got some people not thinking it's a home console. Did you hear that too?
Yeah. Yeah, I heard it.
So,
It's, well, I heard rumors. Somebody said that, like I said, the developer slipped and said that they was working on a title for the NX console.
mm,
Now, I didn't see it myself or read it, but from what I heard in the podcast, this guy said that he actually seen it. He heard it or he read it, that they was actually slipped and said that we are making a game for the NX console right now.
okay.
So that's what I'm going on. I don't know if it's true, but that's what I'm going off of.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's the thing, though. You don't know whether it's going to be a home console or whatever. But I mean, the way things are going, the Wii U, that's why you have so many people speculating that it's going to be a home console. Then you got people out there thinking it's going to be a hybrid, where it's going to be like a console mixed with a handheld, or something you can play your handheld games on too. It's going to, have a little slot for where you can, kind of like how the PlayStation TV is with the Vita, that you can play Vita games on your TV. You got some people speculating that it's like a mixture of a console. It's all kinds of rumors going around, but we do know there is going to be some sort of next Nintendo, console of like system or whatever coming out in next year at E3. I think after what indicates to me that they're going to have a new home console, with how bad their live event was for games. There wasn't really no game shown or nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that was an indicator for me that the Wii U's kind of on its last leg. So just think this: you got the PS4 and Xbox One that came out in 2013. So from there on, I would say 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So you got 6 years would be in 2019 would be it, for the PS4 and Xbox One if they were to go 6 years, right?
Okay.
Okay. Nintendo comes out with the Nintendo NX, in 2017, 2018 to compete with the PS4 and Xbox One. So what do you got? 1 or 2 years, and then they go out with a new console. So that's why I'm saying this generation, would have to go longer for the NX to do anything,
Well, I would say if Nintendo was going to, let's just speculate, Nintendo was going to go that long to 2018 before we see the NX, then it would have to be overpowered than the PlayStation 4. So when the PlayStation 4 comes out, it'll damn near be on par, you know what I'm saying, or just slightly above the NX. And it really wouldn't make a difference because isn't the Xbox One slightly below the PlayStation 4, but it still gets the same games? You know?
That's true. I mean, it's like you said earlier. It's all depending on if Nintendo comes out with a more powerful console. Is it going to be a step above, like how the PS3 to the PS4 is? Like, is it going to be like that of a leap? Like, is it going to be that much above the PS4? Like, you get what I'm saying. Like, is it going to be something like that, or is it going to be a lot more powerful? We don't know. Nobody knows. The only thing that we can hope for is that they add these features that people want and stuff. Nobody knows what's going to go on, but one thing I have to say is Nintendo does have to do something with what they're doing in the home console market because it's not good. It's definitely not. It's not good what's going on. I mean, anybody that's actually going to sit there and defend the Wii U still or anything like that, what Nintendo's doing in the home console market is fucking out of their fucking mind. No. I mean, when you're defending, like I said earlier, Muppet Babies, there's something wrong. Yeah, pretty much. This was a podcast to go over just stuff about their current position in the home console market. Talk a little bit about the NX, like go on about what we think could happen. I just don't know with the whole thing with, if they do come out in 2017, 2018. The reason I'm saying 2016, I think Nintendo's going to announce it at E3 and drop it that holiday in 2016. I couldn't see them waiting any longer because if they wait any longer, then they're really late to the game in this generation. You know what I'm saying? And another thing I want to bring up too, by the time the NX comes out, will people that went out and finally made their choice to get a PS4 or Xbox One, you have the people that don't have the money to go out and buy all these consoles, and they have to sit there and actually sit back after these consoles come out and choose, do I want an Xbox One or do I want a PS4? And by that time, in 2017, 2018, I'm sure them people made their decision. They looked at the Wii U, it was fucking trash. They looked at the Xbox One, it was They looked at the PS4, they saw greatness and went with it. No, I'm just kidding. No, but I'm saying, like, by that time, they made their decision. I don't see Nintendo dropping a console around 2017, 2018, and people going, I just wasted all this money on a PS4 and Xbox One, and there's Nintendo, and we're going to go with that one. I don't think, at that time, in my opinion, people are going to see a console that's either on par with the Xbox One or PS4, and they're going to be like, oh, okay, well, that's cool Nintendo did that, but my console over here, it does that too, and it's, just as powerful, and they're going to be like, whatever. Or if Nintendo comes out with a more powerful console, people are going to be like, still, I would think. They look at that, and people are going to sit back and watch. I would say Nintendo has a year for that console, too, to make some kind of impression on somebody before they buy it after seeing, because a lot of people got to realize the Wii U was just a complete failure. So people are going to be scared going into the NX. They're going to be like, well, is it going to have, voice chat, which you're going to know by day one if it does. But you're going to wonder too, you're like, well, is it going to have third-party support? Is third-party support going to stay with it? Are they going to get DLC? Are they going to get all this stuff? People are going to, I don't think there's going to be too many people, but the hardcore audience buying that console day one. And then you're going to have the Wii U audience that was really upset about the Wii U being, them not, going on with the Wii U 6 years or whatever, the whole generation, however long it's going to last. And they got to go out and buy another console. So I think Nintendo put themselves in a pickle. Would you agree?
Okay, this is what I'm thinking. Because I'm always thinking, I'm always trying to think back of like what I heard and like what I said, stuff that I hear, and I'm trying to look at it as logical as possible. Okay, we know the Wii U does not have no third party support unless Nintendo is making a game with somebody like Platinum Games or something like that, or Skylanders. Okay, now for some odd reason nobody knows why third party is not messing with the Wii U. Could it be that they know? I'm pretty sure they know about the NX. Are they making games for the NX? Did they refuse to make games for the Wii U because it was just under power, and they didn't want to make games again on a system that was under power, especially like the original Wii? So is they just making their way over to the NX?
That could be a possibility. I mean, I don't know. I mean, when you really think about it with developers, and if they're on board with Nintendo, I mean, are they going to all keep this a big secret until then, and then they're going to come out? Like the only one that is really indicating right now that they are possibly working on something for the NX was, I believe it was the people that made Project Cars. They said that the Project Cars is not necessarily going to not be coming to the Wii U, but they said that doesn't mean that they're not going to do something with Nintendo for their next home console or for the NX or whatever. Remember that?
Yeah.
So that's one indicator that they are working on stuff for the their next. That's why I'm saying it's got to be a home console. I don't see you got games like I said a while back when the whole thing happened with Zelda being delayed. I mean, I'm not taking credit for this, but I remember saying, I was one of the first ones that said this. I think I didn't hear nobody else saying at the time that Zelda was going to be like it's what's going to be going to the NX, and it's going to be like a crossover type game.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I think they're going to do that with a lot of games that they were. I mean, not like a cross, but like I think a lot of games that were supposed to come to the Wii U that they were planning, like Ubisoft with their hidden game. Remember, Ubisoft was supposedly saying that they had something on the shelf that they were saving for the Wii U, but they just didn't want to release it until the install base went up. I think that game is going to be on the NX. I think the Project Cars game. I think Retro's new game that they're working on, that's going to be on the NX. I think Zelda's going to be on the NX. I think that's what's going on. I don't know. I mean, that's where I would think some of them games went to. What do you think?
I totally agree with you. Like I said, I mean, it's just our opinion. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes your opinion can make sense. You know what I'm saying? If you really like just think about what's going on, how the Wii U was when it came out. You know what I'm saying? Just logically just come up with like that could be nothing stupid, how some people are on YouTube. They just say stuff just to be saying stuff. They like a company. But if you just really sit back and look at the picture, think, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't know why third party abandoned the Wii U. We don't.
Nobody.
You know what I'm saying? and it's just left up to Nintendo to, you know, try to handle the console by themselves, and they can't. You can't handle the console by yourself. You need third party to fill in those gaps until your games are ready to come out. Third party games want to be there, you know what I'm saying, to come out to fill those gaps. So I'm thinking that, okay, if they left the Wii U because it's underpowered, then even if it's hard to develop, you know what I'm saying, they left it, then they would have to come to the NX. And if it's true what this person said in the podcast, that the developer said that slipped and said, oh yeah, you know, we already working on a title for the NX console, then maybe that's where third party is at. And then you got Reggie saying at E3, digital Red, with Activision, instead of saying Activision, instead of get Black Ops 3 on the Wii U, he's saying, oh, we have a great relationship with third party. Okay, so is third party over at NX? Is they over there? They got developer kits? You know what I'm saying? If Reggie is saying that, then I have to put two and two together. Is that okay? The Wii U don't have no third party support, so you just straight up lied and said you got a great relationship, but you do have a console coming out around the corner, and it could be next year. So is that third party over there making games for the NX and not the Wii U? That's how I look at it. You know, when I heard Reggie say that, I'm like, how can he say that Nintendo is in good standards with third party and third party don't want to put shit on your Wii U? But then as you keep thinking about it, you like, wait a minute, the NX is right around the corner. So what Reggie just said, is third party actually coming to the NX because it's going to be up to par with the PlayStation and Xbox? That's how I think. You know what I'm saying? I try to put pieces together with stuff that we hear and see within the gaming community on YouTube, and not just the bullshit that we hear. I try to put the pieces together so it can make sense. You know, instead of just lately just saying stupid shit because I don't like a company. You know what I'm saying? Or I think a company is kiddie. No, you put if it's your favorite company that you like gaming on, and there was a lot of shit going on, you would do the same thing. You would try to put two and two together. Like, okay, Xbox did this. Phil Spencer said that. So, and this was said in the past, and now I just heard a developer say this, and then another developer slipped and said this. Then you have to put those pieces together. So maybe third party is in good standards with Nintendo, just on the newer, stronger console.
Yeah, but in other words, what you're telling me is when the Wii U, you know, you had, in the beginning, when the Wii U, before it came out, you had third party literally on stage with Nintendo. You had EA, all them talking that they're going to make Battlefield 4 and all this. So Wii U came out, you know, it didn't work out. You had literally third party just vanish like fucking Houdini. So pretty much they just disappear. You know, when the Wii U comes out, they said, you know, it's a shit console. We'll come back with your next one, but we still love you guys. You know, I don't know about that. I don't know if they were secretly on board. You know, one thing you got to take into speculation: how long has Nintendo been working on this new home console? I mean, did they just start when they announced it? Did they start way before? Like, when did they start working on this thing? You know, did third party literally sit in a room with them and say, hey, you know, with the Wii U, it's just not working. You know, we just don't want to, the install base sucks. It's a pain in the ass to develop for the system. We're still cool with you, but we're going to be on board with your next console. You know, one thing a lot of people seem to forget, too, with Nintendo, when they made that console, the Wii U, they didn't like go to, you know, third party like Sony and Microsoft did and said, hey, this is what we're working with, blah, 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 blah. You had Nintendo that pretty much just made this fucking console, you know, that was a pain in the ass to develop for, with a gamepad that, you know, really third party hated, you know, I could say. You know, nobody cared, you know, nobody really liked. Some people like the gamepad, some people, more people don't, I think. But from what I understood, they didn't really show this console to nobody. They just were like, here you go, develop for it. And third parties were like, no, they weren't feeling it. But you did have Ubisoft for a while that did support the Wii U until the end, and they're still supporting it with games like Just Dance and, the more family-friendly orientated games. Let's be nice and say those games are kiddie games. But I don't know. I mean, there could be a whole number of things of what's going on with that console. One thing I do before it's getting too late, because I'm starting to get a little tired, I would like to take some questions from all you guys. I'm sorry I've been ignoring you the whole time in the comments section. I've been reading your comments. But if you guys want to ask any questions about the whole Nintendo thing of, the NX or anything we talked about that you want to bring up, that you want to, maybe me or Old Dirty wants to answer, I'll do that. I've been meaning to start doing that on podcasts, but what better time than now?
do we got anybody any questions in the podcast?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying there's been a lot of people commenting in the comment section during we've been doing this, and I just didn't take any comments. One person says, does One Stop even play games? I mean, he plays games. I've played many games with One Stop. I haven't played games with him lately, but because he's been doing his whole thing with the Dream Team. But he used to play a lot of Last of Us with him. UFC. Even played Grand Theft Auto with him too. He's pretty good. He's not bad at games. I'll give the guy that. He's pretty good. A lot of people don't think he plays video games, but he does. He plays video games. I mean, I've never seen him. He's more of like a multiplayer type dude, but he plays single player too. He's a gamer. I mean, a lot of people for some reason always say, "Is he a gamer?" I've been asked that before for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know. I see him play games. I mean, I got him on the PlayStation 4, so yeah. I mean, I do see him play games.
Yeah, you played games with him before. That's a question from Millie814, and then he asked, Nintendo NX is most likely going to revolve around amiibos. I'm calling it. Do you think the next NX is going to revolve around amiibos?
I wouldn't say like a yes and a no. I would say no, because the amiibo could just be for, the Wii U for right now. But then again, I could say yes, because I could actually see Nintendo actually bringing that to the new console, because they're making so much money. Because I figure if you put so much money off something you thought wasn't going to really be a big major hit, like it just took off like lightning, I don't think you want to stop that money from coming in. I mean, that's with anybody. If you got something out there that's big and it's, people are willing to, stay up 3 o'clock in the morning, keep refreshing the Walmart page so they can get this amiibo, then I can see them like bringing it over to the NX. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think it'll be a bad thing, because right now I don't even own an amiibo for the Wii U. I just buy the game.
What's funny? When I was playing Smash Brothers, I was getting a little bit into Smash Brothers on the Wii U. I actually did like that game. I have to admit it. I was almost bought an amiibo, believe it or not, just to see what they did, because they said something about training your amiibo. But the more I looked into them, I was like, I just can't do that. It's almost like me with handhelds. Every time I look at handhelds, I always look at them for children. And I want a Vita, I'm being honest, and I'd like to get a new 3DS. But the thing that stops me, it's just like, what are people going to think if they see, I'm not saying it like that, but like what do I think what I see when I see a grown man playing a handheld. I'm like, that's a man-child, I always think that. But, we're gamers or whatever, and that's why I overlook it. It's some people may like games on handhelds, but there's that part of me that literally says, that's a man-child playing that game right there. It just looks like a kid playing with a toy. And, amiibos, I mean, I'm sorry, if I see somebody playing with amiibos, it looks like action figures, But it is what it is. I think the next Nintendo home console will revolve around amiibos too, because if it's still at that point selling, I think the minute these things don't move off the shelf, Nintendo's cutting them dry. That's the end of amiibos. I don't think they'll continue it. I think I think they'll go down with the ship on them. You know, no, not down. Not saying it like that. I think I said that wrong. I think pretty much with the whole amiibo things, it's just going to keep going until it completely fails. Like they're going to get the most money they want out of them things. I mean that they can get. I think amiibos are something that's going to go on. I don't. Do you think they're going to go on for a long time, Old Dirty, or is it going to be like a quick phase?
I think it's going to be like a phase. I don't think it's going to go like a long time, anything like Pokemon or anything like that. But I think for right now, you know, it's a big hit. It's a big seller. So with them bringing it over to the NX, I can see them doing that if it's still selling there when the NX come out. Because I'm pretty sure I'm not the first to say it, but I do believe that the Pro Controller, the gamepad is going to be backwards compatible with that new console. I think Nintendo is. I'm thinking they might not bring us something gimmicky control-wise. I think it's going to be a regular controller, but I still think that it's going to be backwards compatible with the Wii U. I'm thinking that just by the history of Nintendo. I'm pretty sure they want people to play that gamepad. The gamepad is going to be like a second controller to you, but that new console, the NX, is going to have like a regular controller. I think the gamepad and Pro Controller is going to be backwards compatible, and maybe the Wii U game. But I'm pretty sure those two controllers are going to be backwards compatible.
Okay. Let's see what else. Other things. Let's see what other comments people are saying that they asked for questions. RXL said for One Stop when we talked about it, if he plays games, somebody asked earlier, I think it was Melly814. RXL says, nope, One Stop spends more time making N4G videos than playing games. Look at his trophies. He's crazy. His channel is One Stop for Casuals. No, he plays. You got to give it to the guy. He plays games, and he's not. You know, I don't know. A lot of people attack One Stop for some reason. You got people that love that guy or they hate him. He's never done nothing to me. He's always been nice. I mean, you know, I've played games with him. I can confirm the guy plays games. He actually was the one that first started teaching me how to play UFC and got me actually pretty good. Then procrastination got me even better. So he does know how to play games. He's, you know, I guess he plays, you know, a lot of the Dude Bro games. But I have seen him playing, you know, like Diablo and stuff like that, you know. So I don't know. Next question or comment from Retro Bat Gamer 94. I don't have any of the 8th gen consoles, but I'm just looking at it as an outsider. Okay. Amiibos also work with the new 3DS. Amiibos are for fags. Trying to see. Okay, here's a question. From Mude. I can't even say your name, man. I'm just gonna read your comment. Read an article that Nintendo is keeping the NX a secret because they don't want the other consoles to steal their ideas. Dave, do you think that's a good idea? Read an article that Nintendo. He read. Okay, that's what he mean. He read an article. It's tired. I'm tired too, guys. So I'm kind of not with it. Read an article that Nintendo is keeping the NX a secret because they don't want the other consoles to steal their ideas. So so in the article that you read, pretty much you're reading in the article that Nintendo is keeping it all a secret because they don't want the other consoles to steal their ideas. But the thing with that is, I mean, if they come out with something that's new and it has its own things, I don't think. Do you think Sony could steal their ideas, Old Dirty, or Microsoft? Like, if they do something different with a controller, I don't think they could steal their ideas.
Not, you know, get something similar to the ideas is basically. I mean, if say Nintendo say something about the NX in August, and we know stuff about it, the controller, whatever it is that Nintendo don't want their competitors to know about it, and the system doesn't come out until, you know, end of 2016 or beginning of 2017, that gives your competitors, you know what I'm saying, a year, you know what I'm saying, to put stuff together. So if this does jump off to be a hit, they have something to put out. You know what I'm saying? Because when you look at the original Wii with the Wii remote, you know what I'm saying, it was all about, hand movement. You know what I'm saying? And when did the Move come out? You know what I'm saying? The Move came out with like 2 years after the original Wii, and then the Connect maybe came out maybe 3 years after. So yeah, it took them time to look and be like, damn, this shit is catching on. You know what I'm saying? People was running to the stores and grab them off the shelves. That's why Sony's like, let's make a move for the PlayStation 3 then. If Nintendo is doing it like that, because I mean, you're going to look at your competitors and see what they doing, and if they making bank, you're going to try to figure like, how can I do the same thing?
If they were trying to keep it a secret, like a big secret, they wouldn't even announce that they're going to announce the NX at 2016 E3.
No,
I think they're going to keep. What now?
No, Nintendo had to. They had to let us know that they was coming out with something, with some type of new console or whatever that's going to replace the Wii U. Because
they didn't have to announce that. I mean, I don't think that was a really good move, to be honest with you. I think they shouldn't have announced that, because now they're letting people know that there is a new console possibly coming out, or whatever it's going to be. Most people that know, if they look at the Wii U, it has to be a new home console that's coming out. But I think they should have kept their mouth shut, and actually, they're going to piss off a lot of people, whether people want to believe that or not. When that new console, if it is a new home console, it's going to piss off a lot of people that do own a Wii U and really hasn't seen this console do shit since it's been out. But I think they should have, I don't know if they should keep. I think letting the cat out of the bag, they've already done it. I don't know if they should go all out and explain to people. Whatever they do is going to hurt the sales of the Wii U. Like, that is going to happen. The more they release information about this thing, and if people actually do find out it's a home console for sure, which everybody should know that's it, I think it will definitely hurt their sales for Wii U's, from that point on. And even them announcing the NX hurt their sales. Like, I don't think there's many people considering buying a Wii U right now. I hope I answered your question about that. Let's see. Mechanized gentleman said, I have a question. What is your definition of a hardcore Nintendo fan? Mine of a hardcore Nintendo fan is somebody that I would say pretty much plays all their shit. Don't have to play everything. Like, everybody's not going to like something. But you play a majority of Nintendo games. Probably know a lot of the hits. Like, somebody I would say is a hardcore Nintendo fan, I'm just being honest, it would be like the guy Triforce Johnson that knows the whole history of fucking Zelda. Like, that guy was going on in a podcast one night about the whole backstory of Zelda, and he could connect each game. Like, that's, to me, somebody that's really hardcore into Nintendo. Would you agree, Old Dirty?
Yeah. Like to me, a person that's like a hardcore Nintendo, fan is, the ones that, basically games on the Wii U, like that's their primary console choice.
Well, I'm saying too, like not even just that. Like, if you go to somebody's house and they got fucking every Nintendo home console and handheld, and they just eat, breathe, and shit Nintendo, that to me is a hardcore Nintendo fan. You could be a hardcore Nintendo fan too, like, that just started out. If you just started in the gaming, you're a younger person and just got into the Wii U, your first console, and all you play is Wii U, you could be a hardcore Nintendo fan that way too. I just basically think it's like you're all about whatever you play. There's hardcore Sony fans where nothing they care about, anything else they don't give a fuck about. It's just, they just like Sony. And that's all they play is, like, they played all the God of Wars, that's just my opinion. I think you're hardcore if you're into something like that. If you know a lot about this company and certain games, like, people like can actually go into big discussions about games and backstory of games. I always find that really interesting, that they really, that just shows how hardcore they're into something and love something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hope I answered your question on that. I might have messed your name up. Sorry, man. I'm tired. But amiibos, my inventory. I don't know if there's any other questions. Oh, will any one of you buy the NX by Twilight Angel? This is a good question, actually. You want to go first, Old Dirty, or me?
Yeah, I can go first. Yeah, I'm a buy it. Um,
Day one?
that's up in the air. I usually buy Nintendo consoles day one, but the NX for me is up in the air for day one. It could change my mind when I see, you know, more about it, hear more about it. If third party is there, I could change my mind and yeah, and get it day one. But right now, that day one is up in the air, with me. But I am going to get it.
Okay. My thing with it, with the Nintendo NX, I gotta have at least minimum. I'm talking minimum at least 8 months to see what they're going to do with third party. It's not necessarily just third party is a big factor, but I'm saying I want to see game releases, like what they're going to do the first year. And the first year you can never really expect much, but one thing people got to take in consideration, they're coming late to the game, so this first year for the NX would have to be explosive. They're going to have a decent amount of third party ready to go. Whether it's Project Cars or whatever. Retro's new game. I think they should come out right out the gate, just fucking boom, 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 to make up for what they did with the Wii U. But the biggest factor to me is if I look at a game, like say they get Call of Duty, say we're just talking about Black Ops 3, say it had that, or Black Ops 4, the next one. The Nintendo NX comes out with Black Ops 4, and all the other consoles are getting that. Is Nintendo going to get the DLC? Like, I'm not saying the first, them be the first ones with the exclusive DLC the first month, but are they going to get it when the other people get it? With whoever, like Sony's got the exclusive rights to, Black Ops' DLC the first month. When the next month rolls around and that DLC is released on Microsoft, is Nintendo going to get it? Are they going to be getting DLC support? When I buy a game, does it get DLC support? Do I get the other things that other, gaming consoles are getting, other gaming companies? You know what I'm saying? Like, I want it to be fair. Like, I want to buy a console that gets support, That's one major factor with me. Do I want another console? Is this going to shit Mario all the time? I don't know. I don't think so. I want to see other things on this console. My personal opinion, I'm giving it probably a whole year or more before I buy that console. I don't think, I'm saying 8 months minimum. If I really find that console to be really impressive, where I'm just like, wow, they really, did right by this one. They really fucking added voice chat. They have a simple messaging system. They have a trophy. That's another thing we didn't get to talk about. Like, I want to see like an achievement, system or trophy system or something. I want to see them come with that. Is that going to be a game breaker if they don't do it? Like, am I going to boycott the NX? No, but I would like to see those things. That's one thing I want to see, an achievement, thing. But basically, I just want to see if the damn thing's supported, and I'm giving it 8 months minimum. If it comes out, like I said, balls to the wall, games everywhere, where they're actually supporting the damn thing, 8 months, I'll grab it. But if I'm seeing like, I'm not too sure after 8 months, I'm going to give it longer. But I'm very questionable about buying the NX because I don't know what Nintendo's going to do with that thing. It could be a bomb. A lot of people don't take in consideration. Look at Nintendo's track history with their consoles every generation. You had the NES, which was a great console, and then you had the Super NES, which was a great console. And then when it went from the N64 on, it was like, wow, it was like they're going down every generation in install base. It wasn't really getting much better. The consoles were getting less support. I mean, a lot of people don't really realize this. They think this next console, Nintendo, is going to be the savior, but look what Nintendo's been doing the past couple generations. It's been horrible. It's been getting worse every generation. So I mean, are they going to come out with a great console? If I look at their track history, probably not. But like I said, I'm giving it 8 months minimum. If it's real good at the start, 8 months, I'll get one. If it's questionable, then I'm going to give it over a year before I make up my mind. If they, so that should be enough time to notice what they're going to do with it. But who knows? I mean, most likely I'll get it if it's good. If it's dog shit and anything close to the Wii U or Wii, no. Let's see. Who else? Let's see if anybody else. Okay, we got that one. He will. We'll get another. Why do we need Nintendo again? RXL asked. Can you want to ask that one, Old Dirty? We'll take a couple more questions, and we're going to end this podcast. RXL asks, why do we need Nintendo again?
Well, RXL, to answer your question, sir, we need Nintendo because basically Nintendo is, is that, to me, they're that company that, that's different. It's always good to have something different. You don't want everything to be identical all the time. You want a little something different. And that's what I like about Nintendo, is that they can bring me a little something, even if it's controller-wise, it's just something different. You know what I'm saying? It's good for Nintendo it's good for all three of them to keep each other on their toes. You know what I'm saying? So it's good to have Nintendo in there to keep Microsoft and Sony on their toes. So that's what I like. They bring something different to the table, either if it's game wise or controller wise. I like it.
Okay. Reason why I would say we need Nintendo again is kind of like along the lines what Old Dirty said, pretty much without Nintendo, you won't these companies won't have much competition. Then they'll just be Microsoft and Sony. And, basically one thing that I will say Nintendo does give sometimes, they give something different at times, like what the other ones are doing. They are doing something different at times, not necessarily what everybody wants, but they are making something a little different. If you have companies that constantly make the same thing, you're never going to get anything different. Nintendo's like the odd man out that always does do something different, whether people love it or hate it, and competition is good. If you have just two people instead of three, competing, then it's not that interesting. Sony, and one thing, back in the, NES generation, that's pretty much all you had then, and, would you want that again? Just one older? Would you just want one company, or would you want three?
No, I would want three. I wouldn't just, just Sony or Microsoft or even Nintendo. I want them to have
competition is good, because that's what, if basically one company's out there just doing it, or two, you're not going to, when three's competing, it's more interesting. The more competing, the more better, if companies don't have to compete with each other, then they're just going to give you the same old shit over and over and over. But the thing that makes competition good is one trying to get above the next one. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that's that on that. Who is it? Wade Dwell says, Dave, do you think it's good news that Miyamoto is no longer designing Nintendo hardware? Do you think this will finally stop Nintendo from being a gen behind technology-wise? What you want to answer that first, Older, or do you want me to answer it?
I actually seen that. I really looked it on. In a way, I think it might be good. Miyamoto is actually stepping away from the hardware, and just focus on games, because I don't know if it had anything to do with like the other console that was before the original Wii. So that'll be good. Nintendo at least back to their roots. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to get back into this competition. It's different. We have to stay in competition. You know what I'm saying? So if Miyamoto is stepping away from hardware, just focusing on something, that's a good thing, because he did have to do the Wii U and the Wii, but I don't know if it's something to do with the hardware, the original, like the N64 game, And like I don't know if it had anything to do with those. I believe it had something to do with the Wii and even the 3DS. Yeah.
Mhm.
If Nintendo could get to how they was when I was tad youngsters, yeah, let them focus on this, you know.
All right. I think it is good news that Miyamoto pretty much is no longer designing Nintendo hardware. I think it's time for them to get somebody younger in there to do it, to get new ideas. It's always better. One thing Nintendo's problem is you got a lot of like people have been there too long, that you got older people and they need to get the young blood in there to get new ideas and know what the younger like the newer generation wants. You got people like Miyamoto that's thinking about shit with the consoles from the get-go, from the beginning. His mind's still over there, it seems like. He's not with nowadays, it seems like. He's not with the he's still back in the old days, it seems like. It's just they need to move out with the old and in with the new. So I think it's a good thing. Let's see. How much will the NX cost? That's a good question, Big Pete. I'm gonna answer this one off the rip. I think that could be a big that could probably be something bad or good for Nintendo. What do you think? Pretty much with them coming out with an expensive console, I think they gotta. I'd say have to make it as cheap as possible. Wouldn't you think so? Or
Yeah, I would think if they want to make something on par with, the PlayStation 4, I would think with Sony putting the PlayStation 4 together, I'm pretty sure whatever they use, you know what I'm saying, the graphics card and all that, the RAM, pretty sure by now it's down in price. So maybe Nintendo can make something, maybe $100 less, maybe, but I'm not going to say they're going to do that. I'm pretty sure it's going to be like a no more than $400, no more than $399 for this NX. That's what I say. I don't think it'll be $500. I think it'll be between $350 and $399.
Okay.
For right now.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe about where you're thinking, 400. Come out with 399. I don't. The problem what I find is one thing I find is really kind of odd. One thing at the Nintendo Live event that they just did at E3, they did do a price drop for the Wii U. I found that was kind of strange. You got no consoles, no companies that did any price drop. Sony didn't do one with the Vita. Sony didn't do one with the PS3. Like Microsoft didn't do one with the Xbox 360. I think all them consoles need price drops, even the Wii U. The Xbox One, I think, don't really need a price drop. They kind of did one. They did do one, and they did. They really just dropped the Kinect. They just sold it to you cheaper that way. Because if you had the Kinect at like my Walmart, the Kinect model is $500. It's still at the same price, but without the Kinect, it was like $350. But I think they needed a price drop on the Wii U, and they just kind of didn't do that for some reason. I think with the Nintendo NX, I think 400 would be a good price, $399, if they're going to add all the features that people want. Another question. I'll ask like two more questions, and I gotta go, guys. I'm sure Old Dirty's as tired as I am. Do you think the NX will be based on yet another dumb gimmick? I do. I do. I don't know about Old Dirty, but I think they're going to go after another gimmick like they did with a lot of their other consoles. I think it's always a gimmick with Nintendo, but the best thing we could hope for is that they're not going to go after another gimmick. What do you think, Old Dirty?
I want to say this is not going to be a gimmick, but y'all know Nintendo. Just for, Iwata is saying that he don't want the competition to get an upper hand on them. So they're not going to really say nothing about console. So it's telling me that maybe it's going to be some type of gimmick to it if they don't want the competition to get a jump on what they're doing with the NX. So to answer that guy's question, then yeah, Nintendo might be doing something. We don't know what it is. They want their competition to jump on this.
Well, the one reason they go after gimmicks is because they're always looking for something new that people are going to gravitate toward the casuals. The whole thing with just making a standard console is they're basically just going to go hold it. That would be like something Nintendo usually wouldn't do. They always got some kind of gimmick going on. You know, we had a gimmick going on with the N64. But the GameCube was basically something basic, wouldn't you say? I don't think there was any big gimmicks there. Do you?
No, no big gimmicks, but I mean the control layout buttons were different than than the other controllers out there, like from the PlayStation and even the N64 and Super Nintendo. Even though the N64 was shaped like some type of spaceship, but the button layouts in the front was still basically like the same. And so the GameCube controller it just had its big button was what was the A button? I think it was. This button on the controller, then every other button, the X, Y, and B was like around it. You know what I'm saying? In like not oval shapes, but kind of like weird shapes going around a big circle.
That's true. Last question, and I missed this question from Wade Dwelly to answer. He asked, do you think that the NX will be based off another gimmick? That was his second question. His first one before that was, do you think the NX will be on par with the PS4? Which we kind of were talking about, but we didn't really think, we didn't say for sure what we thought. We were just speculating, but do I think it's going to be on par for sure? I don't know. I mean, it just depends on what they're planning. I mean, I would hope it would be. I mean, I don't know what Nintendo's got up their sleeve. If they're going to come out with, like we said earlier, with a more powerful console, if they're going to do one on par, I would hope they would do one on par with the competition. So developers, so third party, will be on board with them. Because if I think they make something, like I said earlier, more powerful, I don't know if developers are going to want to bother with that when they make a third party game. What do you think, Old Dirty?
Yeah, I would. I believe Nintendo would make a console on par with the PlayStation 4, or maybe just slightly stronger. Maybe maybe like 20% stronger, or something like that. And why I think that is because Nintendo got to look at the Wii U. They got to look at it, and the more complaints that they are getting is that it's underpowered. Then come the features. So Nintendo has to look at that and be like, you know what? We got to get back on par.
Okay. Yeah, that's the podcast, though, guys. I'm sorry, we started so late. I'm kind of getting tired when I'm talking now. But at least we did it. I don't, tomorrow I got things going on where I can't do one. I was going to do a podcast earlier today, but just got around to it now. Better late than never. I appreciate Old Dirty you joining me as always on this one-on-one gaming discussion with Nintendo and the current position in the home console market.
It's no problem, Dave. I had fun doing it.
And I appreciate everybody in the comment section for commenting, asking questions. Mechanic Guys Gentleman, Wade Dwell, Mindy's Hit Cave, Dagger 110, Big Pete, come on, I'm trying to see, Baba Kakarok, RXL 209, Retro Bat Gamer 94, Melly 814. Appreciate all you guys. I think I got everybody that's been commenting. Till next time.